I, 27 female, am pregnant with my first child. As expected, I'm very happy and I'm sharing news of my pregnancy on Facebook as I have several family members who live overseas. And also, I want to. This is my first child and I'm beyond happy. The issue is my older sister, 29, who's infertile and has given up on children after 9 losses. My sister and I have never had a good relationship. She was sick as a baby and nearly died. The trauma caused my parents to favor her and place her above me. As a result, I was always expected to make myself as small as possible to accommodate her. She always got a cake and more presents on my birthday so she wouldn't feel left out. I was told to hide my grades as she did badly at school. I was also not allowed to display trophies in my home because she might see them and get upset. My sister 100% leaned into this and made my life a nightmare. She would make up stuff so my parents would take things from me and give them to her. I was even told not to go to my prestigious university, think Ivy League, but in my country, because it would upset her. When I chose to go, my parents cut me off. That was fine, as my paternal grandparents, who basically raised me, took care of everything. I was dropped off with them a lot when my sister needed medical care. Since then, I've been in low contact with my family and only see them around the holiday at my grandparents' place. They weren't invited to my wedding. When I got pregnant, I shared the announcement online, and everybody congratulated me, except my parents and sister, who harassed me and reported my post so it wouldn't get taken down. I blocked them all. I saw them again on New Year's at the grandparents' place. When they saw me, my sister started screaming at my grandparents, saying how could they invite me after what I did to her. She was also screaming at my belly as it offended her. She kept crying and asking how I could do this to her. I told her I did nothing to her. She went on and on about her losses and how hard they were on her, but I snapped and told her I didn't care. She's not my sister. She's my bully who tormented me my whole life. I owe her nothing. My life has nothing to do with her. This got my parents mad and they screamed at me too. My uncles ended up throwing them out and it ruined the party. My family said I did nothing wrong, but my parents and my sister's friends have been mass reporting my Facebook account until I ended up deleting it. Am I the idiot? Should I have shown her more grace? Not the idiot. Wow, your parents are enabling your grown-up sister's bullying. I mean, I get that they wanted to spoil her after almost losing her as a baby, but nothing warrants the harassment the three of them seem to have put you through your whole life. Like seriously, are you supposed to never be better or faster than your sister at anything? Ever? Geez. I can't tell how bad you snapped since you probably paraphrased the interaction, but it seems like your sister had it a long time coming, and you should honestly just cut off all contact with her and your parents. The toxic vibes are strong with these ones. Also, congratulations on your pregnancy. May your child be cheerful and grow up in a better loving environment than you, unfortunately, had to. Yep, your parents and your sister are truly toxic. While I feel bad for her having to go through 9 losses, your life doesn't revolve around her. Your parents are horrible for their blatant favoritism and for making you hide all of your achievements growing up, so you can't, in a sense, outshine her. If I was you, I'd go no contact after this. Yeah, she was screaming at your belly as it offended her. What did she expect? That you would be voluntarily child-free to protect her feelings? Or that you would decline any and all invitations to family events until your child is grown and you can pretend she no longer exists? Obviously, the idiots here are your sister and parents for screaming at you at your grandparents' home. I am so sorry you had such an awful childhood. I hope your pregnancy goes easily and you have a lovely baby. Having a happy life really is the best revenge. My husband has 3 kids, tween male and pre-tween female, and his former stepdaughter teen. I also have 2 kids, tween male and older tween female. My husband's ex had mental health issues, and my husband didn't want her alone with the kids. So shortly after they got married, he hired Lucia, mid-late 50s at the time, to take care of his stepdaughter, then later their kids. He eventually left his ex, and they moved to be closer to his family. However, he didn't want to fire Lucia, so she moved in with him. Lucia is very close with these kids. They call her Grandma. She taught them Spanish, and she loves the kids. It's not unusual to see the youngest sitting in Lucia's lap while they watch a movie, and she always hugs and kisses them. My kids and I moved in, and while she's nice to us, she treats my kids like an afterthought. I don't pay her for my kids. They take the bus to school and can walk to and from the bus stop, make themselves a snack, and do their homework. The only thing she needs to do when she makes dinner, I need her to make some for my kids. There are two problems with this arrangement. First, she makes Mexican food all the time. My kids don't eat Mexican food, so my daughter ends up making dinner for herself and her brother half the time. Second, she's extremely loving to my husband's kids while ignoring mine. It wouldn't kill them to speak English around my kids or for her to not hug and kiss them every 30 seconds. It makes my kids uncomfortable and a little jealous. I told my husband about this, and he said he didn't know what I was expecting since Lucia had been with those kids for 12 years. So I told him to talk to Lucia about making things fair between the kids. Speak English so my kids can be included in the conversation. Make food that all of the kids like, and include my kids in their outings. Once a week, Lucia picks the kids up from school and takes them out to get ice cream or hot chocolate, and sometimes they go out to dinner after that. My husband says no, because his kids love Lucia's Mexican food, and the ice cream has been a tradition with the four of them for 7 years. The kids will start to forget their Spanish if they don't speak it regularly with Lucia, and because she's been their grandma since the oldest was 3 and the younger 2 were born, so having her change anything now will be harmful to his kids. I told him that he couldn't just think of his kids anymore, and that keeping things the way they are is harmful to my kids. Still, he's refusing to change anything. Instead, he blames everything on me because I was the one that told Lucia that my kids don't need a nanny and didn't invite her to any family activities so she could become closer to my kids. Since he's refusing to talk to her about it himself, I'm considering talking to her, but I wanted to know if I was the idiot for wanting my husband to do it. You are the idiot. To your husband's children, Lucia has been a maternal figure that they otherwise wouldn't have. They're bonded. You didn't just show up and marry your husband. You were aware that Lucia is their caretaker, and you moved in, and now are dictating the terms of their relationship. You're not paying Lucia to care for your children. Your husband's children are accustomed to the food she makes. Your children can either adapt to the meals or go without them. Your husband's children are now bilingual. Instead of encouraging your children to also learn Spanish and practice that skill, you're demanding change. Yes, you're married, but there was no agreement to change the care situation before marriage. You were aware of the arrangements with Lucia. It seems you're trying to sabotage the relationship, which is not okay. Yep, how do you join someone else's family and be like, things are gonna have to change around here, solely to benefit you and make you more comfortable, without creating or adding any positive or benefit for the family you want to become a part of? You're being selfish and entitled and sound like you would be a horrible step-parent. You aren't paying her to take care of your kids. She definitely shouldn't have to make a separate special meal for kids she isn't being paid to take care of. The same goes for special outings for your kids. It seems you want to make your stepkids' lives worse to make your and your kids' lives more convenient, and you'd like your husband to pay for it all. You're the entitled one, aren't you? My family owns property in a tropical destination that is very popular at this time of the year. My friends and I, all girls in our early 20s, have been talking about going to my parents' house for years, and this January was finally the season. Everything was aligning in our favor. An acquaintance of mine, Jessica, who's a part of our larger group of friends, heard about the upcoming trip and asked to join us. I was initially reluctant, but she kept publicly insisting on it by saying that visiting this place was one of her childhood dreams, which put me in an awkward position to say no. We then added her to our travel group chat and went over everything already decided on our itinerary and how much money we plan to spend on this trip. She seemed excited about it, and didn't want to change anything. Great. Unfortunately for buying the tickets, and she wasn't forced to join us. Instead, she could stay home and eat the food my parents kindly stocked for us, or walk around the city center. When we returned home, I was flooded with messages from our mutual friends asking why I was so mean to poor Jessica. Apparently, she took it to social media and created this narrative that she's a victim and we're bullies. I was sick of it. We had a fight where she called me terrible things. I wasn't a perfect angel either, to be fair, ending with her being kicked out. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She invited herself on your trip and then acted appalled that it wasn't catered to her needs and wishes. Make sure all of your friends blowing up your phone due to her social media post know your side of the story. She created her own problems and tried to blame you. She can just get herself back home. You are the idiot because of the part where it's a different country and she might not have enough money for a hotel, and it could be dangerous for a young woman. She was entitled and obnoxious, and I understand why you kicked her out. Maybe it would have been more considerate if you had first warned her about being kicked out. Your other mistake here was caving under the pressure of avoiding awkwardness and allowing her to come in early. And feeling awkward by saying no is far less painful than the ordeal you just encountered. Update. Am I the idiot for kicking my friends out of my vacation house in a foreign country? Even though I was mainly judged not the idiot, I did feel bad about the way I handled it. Like many of you pointed out, it's my fault for allowing her to come in the first place. This country, and especially this specific location, is considered safe, but it's not idiot-proof. Something bad could have happened, and I would have blamed myself for it. I decided to be the bigger person and contacted Jessica earlier today after dropping my friends off at the airport. Our talk went really well. She explained that in the beginning she was looking forward to our plans. She wanted to experience the glitz and glamour of the destination. In her head, she would go to the beach clubs with us, and guys would offer to buy her drinks and ask her for dinner, so she wouldn't have to pay for any of it. Unfortunately, reality didn't play out like that, and she started to grow resentful whenever one of us would get male attention. The final straw was when I wouldn't let her borrow a wetsuit from me when we went scuba diving. She wouldn't fit in any of our extras, and I didn't want them to stretch or break. She said that it triggered her imposter syndrome and body dysmorphia, so she didn't want to go to the hot spots with us, as it affected her mental health. I told her that while I understand where she's coming from, I hope she realizes that my friends and I are not in the wrong for sticking to our original itinerary and not catering to her insecurities. We didn't bully her once, and slandering us on social media for her own issues was unacceptable and unhinged. She genuinely apologized for her behavior, and she knew she was in the wrong. I also apologized for kicking her out in the heat of our fight and offered to pay for her hotel and any fees she had to anticipate her flight. She thanked me and said she would request the payment via a money app. Everything was going well until I saw the request for 5,000 euros. What? I texted her, asking if this was the right amount. She said yes. I asked for receipts, but she didn't have any. I asked for bank statements or any sort of proof. She got angry and went back to being her rude, irrational self. I blocked her everywhere, and I won't talk to her ever again. Well, this took a turn at the end. Do I understand this correctly? So this woman came on vacation and didn't have enough money to do the activities because she thought other travelers or locals would pick up her bar bills to flirt with her. And then she got frustrated and stressed when it wasn't happening because she wouldn't have enough to pay for things. You are clearly way better off without this person. They've shown that they will not be accountable for their own idiot behavior. Wow, OP went out of her way to even pay for this entitled idiot's hotel. And this is what she does to OP? Sends a $5,000 bill with no receipt? At this point, I would have left that friend in the middle of the desert. It sounds like you should screenshot her request for 5,000 euros and be ready to share it on social media when she once again accuses you of being mean. Shocked she didn't scream emotional distress for the excessive amount. Chick should have never gone on a vacation she knew she couldn't afford, point blank. She sounds like a bagpacker who wants others to pay their way. OP, you should have just stuck with the talk and not offered her money. Every year, my family spends Christmas in Hawaii. We've done it every year since I can remember, and it's a fun family tradition for me. After my husband and I had kids, we had to reorganize our family Christmas plans because his parents wanted to see our kids for Christmas. So we decided to celebrate Christmas with his parents on New Year's and go to Hawaii for actual Christmas. This is the system that worked for us until last year. Last year, his dad passed away around this time of year, and it hit him and his mom hard. For obvious reasons, we didn't go to Hawaii. This year, we planned out what we'd do for the holidays early. We'd do Thanksgiving with his mom, and we'd do Christmas in Hawaii since the kids and I missed out last year. Things were going well until right before our flight. Then about a week out, he said he was unsure. He said he thinks it might be better that we stay. He said he wanted to spend Christmas with his family and felt like his mom needed it. I was unhappy about this. We made a plan. We saw her last month, and we already had my dad buy our tickets and hotel. So it would be incredibly unfair to me, him, and our kids for us not to go just for his mom, who we'd see a few days after we got back anyways. So we got into an argument about it and proposed that the kids and I go to Hawaii and he could stay there with his mom. He decided to do this, but he was clearly very upset that I wasn't going to forego my family's Christmas tradition and see my family just for his mom. So now I'm in Hawaii watching and wrangling my kids by myself while he's home alone. He hasn't texted me or responded to me much. When I call him, he only talks for about 3 minutes before wanting to get off the phone with me and talk to the girls. Am I the idiot? Edit. It's a my side of the family thing. Also, I feel that it would be rude to ask to invite my mother-in-law since we don't pay. You are the idiot for your attitude. I wasn't going to forego my family's Christmas tradition and see my family just for his mom. Obviously, his mom is important to him. I understand that you have to move on, but everyone has different grief. That's the loss of her life partner. You've put your tradition above your family, which in my honest opinion really sucks. Not the idiot. If he had suggested 6 months ago, before the trip was planned and paid for, that you spend Christmas with his mom and adjust the family holiday Christmas schedule accordingly, then that would be different. But he waited until 1 week before, after spending Thanksgiving with her, and the whole trip was paid for, to suggest canceling your side of the family's holiday and doing Christmas with her as well? Bottom line, I understand and commiserate with his feelings, but I think casually expecting his whole family to cancel a fantastic trip that was already paid for was unreasonable, given the time frame, and at the very least, he shouldn't punish you for still going when he didn't. Disagree. You are the idiot for we spend every Christmas in Hawaii with my family. So he never gets to spend Christmas with his family. How many Christmases did he miss with his dad before he died? And the part where she says, the kids and I missed out last year. Like, yeah, for a good reason. Your father-in-law just died. I don't know. Everyone's giving her a pass here. But to me, OP comes off as incredibly selfish and uncaring. It's like she doesn't really care about his or his mother's grief, as long as she gets her free trip to Hawaii on Daddy's dime.